All right. So now we'll continue with the text. We were reading the 6th point, right? The commitments of mind training. And yesterday we completed the 5th point, transform your attitude but maintain your natural behavior, right? So it means when you do Dharma practice, it's a question of really changing your attitude, not your changing your clothes or anything like that. Don't speak of others' incomplete qualities, meaning that out of negative motivation, if you highlight the faults of others, incomplete qualities, that he is ugly, she is limping, his eyesight is not good, things like that, highlighting the incomplete qualities of others. It's none of your business. If you at all interested in highlighting incomplete qualities, then you should speak about your own incomplete qualities. You should not be like a butter lamp. You know what does that mean? Butter lamp, when you burn a butter lamp, it gives light to all the surroundings. But underneath, it is dark. Ah. हाँ अंधकार हाँ ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. Don't speak of others' incomplete qualities. Because if you speak about others' incomplete qualities, for example, if somebody doesn't have eye, then if you say you're blind, it is doubly upsetting for that person. You see, number one, he doesn't have an eyesight. And on top of that, you're highlighting that. So in Tibetan, we have a phrase called Jeva Dosi. That means somebody who's already fallen, and then you give another kick on that person. It's like that. 7, don't concern yourself with others' business. This is also similar, quite similar. The first one is incomplete qualities, but this one is simply finding the faults of others. Not necessarily incomplete qualities, but faults of others. Eight, trend to counter whichever disturbing emotions is greatest. That means we have many negative emotions, and it is impossible for you to counter all of them. So the important thing is first you try to deal with that negative emotion which has a predominant presence in you, because that is going to bring a lot of trouble and difficulties. For example, out of many negative emotions, if you are quite hot-tempered, then reduce that, because that's going to destroy you, right? So whichever trend to counter whichever disturbing emotion is greatest. So you find that for yourself, whether you're a hot-tempered person or a stingy person or a competitive person, whatever, right? Negative competition, wish to compete with others in a negative way. Give up every hope of reward. That means the result of your meditation should be that there is no personal clinging. There's no clinging to yourself for your purposes alone, right? No clinging. Meaning that if I do this, what kind of benefit I will get? That should not be there. There is a story of a Tibetan teacher who used to give many teachings to many students, And he would always say, I've given so many teachings to so many students, but I did not expect even a thank you. Forget about expecting things to come. But you're not expecting things doesn't mean it will not come. If it come, okay. If it doesn't come, okay. But don't expect. Because this teacher says, I've given so many teachings to so many students, but never ever even expected a thank you because there is nobody who is not suffering. When people they themselves are suffering, they have a problem, they have need of so many things. What are you going to expect from them? Right? Give up every hope of reward. Avoid poisonous food. In general, if you take a healthy food, that will strengthen your body, improve your health. But that good food is mixed with poison, that will become cause of your death. So similarly, in general, listening to the teaching and then contemplating on the teaching, meditating on the teaching, definitely leads to achieving enlightenment. But if you do this with eight worldly concerns, meaning that I'll become famous, I'll be respected, things, again, this is like clinging to oneself, then that becomes polluted. Even so-called dharma practices can be contaminated with this kind of negative thoughts. It's very easy to have these negative thoughts. Sometimes you may not even know it is there, but you think, okay, I'm just doing the perfect practice. But deep down, you still have this expectation clinging to yourself because we are habituated with that. It's very, very difficult. So make sure that it is not there. For example, when a mother takes care of her little kids, not only children but little kids, let us say, she will not expect anything from them, right? So something like that should be there, right? When I see your face right now, you're all grown up, right? So you look like this, experienced, grown up person, educated person. But in a way, I can imagine the face you had when you were a little innocent child. You, to some extent, you still carry that. So you should be able to see that in everybody. The child in you and child in me should be able to see that. Because when you see that, there is purity, there is innocence, right? So, whatever activities you do, good activities you do, especially when you do dharma practices, it should not be contaminated with self-cherishing attitude. Next is not maintaining good nature. Not maintaining good nature means if you have, generally speaking, if you have good nature, right? Right? People in general, I think they have good nature everywhere. That's what my understanding. In my life, I visited over 30 countries. Although those were very short visit, but I had an opportunity to study people a little bit. So basically, people, ordinary people are, I think, good nature, good people. That doesn't mean they don't have ignorance. Ignorance is there, but still, basically, they are good natured. So therefore, this one says, not maintaining good nature means you have good nature, but that should be maintained. When you encounter difficult situations, you may forget that good nature. Instead, you will be taken over by negative emotions. Sometimes it happens, a particular individual, normally everybody says he's so calm, so quiet, so peaceful. But on a particular day, he gets so angry that everybody gets shocked. We never thought that he will become so angry like that. बाप रे बाप बोलते हैं ना हम लोग. हमने कभी नहीं सोचा कि वो इतना गुस्सेदार है, बाप रे बाप, बाप रे बाप बोलते हैं ना, है ना, वो मत करना, ठीक है ना. So maintaining, maintaining is very important. I'm basically not so much of a teacher, but I'm basically an administrator. So so in Dharamsala, I look after construction and so many things. So in that work, one thing that I saw clearly is that it is not like, say, constructing a nice house. It is maintaining it later on. Maintenance नहीं है ज़्यादातर हम लोग हर बार जब, especially the government constructed houses, no maintenance at all. So if you maintain it properly, the house will last a long time. It will be really pleasant and nice. So that's what I try to do in the library, maintaining. So similarly, maintaining your health, maintaining your good nature is very, very crucial. Recognize yourself. Basically, you're a good person. But because of the society, the situation, environment, surrounding, you might lose that good nature. So don't do that. Maintain it. You know? Not maintaining good nature. Don't retort nastily. Don't retort nastily means that you should not keep on using harsh words all the time. Whenever you speak with somebody, immediately you use those words which will hurt other people, which will make others, unhappy. Because the speeches, the words that we use, are not sharp like a blade, but it can chop other people's heart into pieces. Tamla nongar meja meaning thubur tups. This is a Tibetan, saying which says that the word that you use doesn't have the sharpness of blade, but it can chop other people's heart into pieces. Similarly, there's an English saying which says a tongue which is, say, 5 inches long can fail a person 6 feet tall by using harsh speech. There's another Tibetan saying which says that unless you take care control of this reddish tongue, your roundish head might get a beating. Right? So controlling of speech is very, very important. Don't retort nastily. Don't lie in ambush. I like this mind training text so much. Just one line, so powerful. Don't lie in ambush. That means you are waiting in ambush, seeing that what mistake he is going to make, and then immediately you will take note of that and bully her. The aristocrats, they do that. Many aristocrats are trained in that. They will always lie in ambush. What are you doing? What is happening? Then when you see somebody doing a little bit of mistake, he will immediately take note of it and then ambush. Lie in ambush. So yesterday when I was reading this again and again, I thought, oh, I need to do some work with this one again. I did do some work with this one also because there are so many versions. So I had to consult and then do some readjustment. But now I have started thinking, oh, I should, write this commentary together because the text, many of the texts, they are very long. Just for one sentence, the commentary is very long, for which we have no time to read and explain. Then sometimes with particular lines, there is really no clear explanation. So you need to consult many other commentaries. So probably we can do something like that. Plus, come up with a drawing. Don't lie in ambush, You can come up with a very nice drawing. Avoid poisonous food. Nice drawing. Any good painter wants to collaborate with me, raise your hand. Okay. It will be very, very interesting for many people. Huh? Who said what?
I said waiting for another person to make a mistake.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you wait, seize that moment, and then strike. Ah, don't strike at the vital point. See, चुन चुन के मरना. हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना चुन चुन के मरना. Don't strike at the vital point. अगर किसी को मरना है, if you want to kill somebody, just randomly hitting here and there, the person, sometimes even bullet does not kill that person. But if you know the vital point, easily kill that person, kill that animal. People who kill animal, they do that also. Just थोड़ा सा needle डाल दो, मर जाएगा वो. Vital point. So that means you highlight one of the weakest point of that person and then strike on that. So difference between this one and previous one is previous one is line ambush in general, in general what he is doing. But here you are highlighting one of the weakest point and then hitting there. Weakest or most important point, vital point to take your life. Vital point. So in other words, don't lie in ambush means if somebody has done a little bit harm to you, then you keep it in mind. Okay, she said this nasty thing to me. She did this nasty thing to me. And then wait for an opportunity to retaliate. That's lying in ambush. So in your case, it is at all improper to do that because you are supposed to be doing this mind training practice where your main focus is bodhicitta. Okay. So don't strike at the vital point. Means out of a negative motivation, you highlight the fault, weakness of the other person. That should not be done. Because if you do that, it will be almost like killing for that person. It will hurt that person very much. Okay. Then don't place the load of zo on an ox. so so that means you make other people work in such a way that the person is unable to do. Still, you put that burden on that person. If you are, for example, chairman of a corporate or leader of an institution, something like that, then you have many workers under you. So then there you need to see who can do what. Don't make others do those things which is impossible for them to do. Right? So the example is Zo is like so I think it's like mule, which is a small sized animal but very strong. So the load that Zo can carry cannot be carried by an ox. Right? And that we do all the time. वो कर नहीं सकता लेकिन बोलते क्यों नहीं किया अभी तक. क्या आपका कमर टूट रहा है क्यों नहीं लिया. ये सब मैं हिंदी में ट्रांसलेट करने से अच्छा लगता है मुझे. There are some people who speak English, so I have to speak in English, but I feel like speaking in Hindi because I've been living in India so long that I picked up many of these words. Okay. The next one is a little bit controversial. There are two different versions, so I could not figure out. So first the translation was don't get your food in the wrong way, but it looks like this is not the one. According to the other Tibetan text, this is like saying don't use it for wrong treatment. Don't use it means don't use the mind training practice for wrong treatment. Right? It should be used only for the purpose for which it is practiced, not in the wrong way. ठीक सुने? Then don't sprint to win the race. Don't sprint to win the race means if two people do a work together, and then when there is a reward coming, a recognition coming, then this achievement is due to both of you, right? But in that case, if you try to sprint and run, and ये सब मैंने किया, ये तो मैंने किया. That's what we do all the time. वो नहीं करना चाहिए. The real bodhisattvas, they always say, even if it is done by them, they'll say, it's not done by me. He has done it. That's the right way. He is the one. That's right it. हाँ?
प्रैक्टिकल में उल्टा हो रहा है.
उल्टा तो आप हर चीज उल्टा कर रहे हैं हम लोग. तो इसलिए हम लोग खरा भी उल्टा खरा होना चाहिए ना. बिल्कुल उल्टा कर रहा है, सही बोला. We are doing the other way around. That's what he's saying. Yes, absolutely. We are doing everything the other way around, in the wrong way. As this is what I said yesterday. Actually, if you want name and recognition, just do your work. Name will come, recognition will come. But most of us don't want to do the work, but earn the fruit. And in many cases through shortcut, bakshish dekar, by bribing. Then in the end you get trouble, you see. So these great beings, they always say, I don't want. Like His Holiness Dalai Lama. Tibetans have been insisting that please, you are the only one who can lead us. Please. In a desperate situation, he took the responsibility. Now later on he said, you should understand, later on he said, in today's time, it doesn't look nice. A country is led, the leader of a country is a religious person, a monk. Number one, that doesn't look very nice. Number two, we should have a long-term vision. Long-term vision means, in order to fulfill that long-term vision, the country should not be dependent upon just one person. There should be continuous coming of new leaders through election, so that there's no vacuum. So it's good, you all trust me, but when I'm gone, what will you do? So again, people insisted, he stayed few more years, then after that, okay, final, this is absolutely final. Now you need to elect the new leader. And you should do this while I'm alive. While I'm alive, if you do this, then if there's a problem, still you can consult me because you people are trusting me. So 2011, he completely gave up his leadership. And he does not have any salary. Does not ask for any salary. Of course, he gets offerings from different people. He gives it all for running the government and philanthropic practices, for so many things. I don't think he ever touches money. Right?
Venerable Geshe, I'm not sure whether this is related or not, but even the king of Bhutan was an absolute ruler. He gave up his powers willingly.
Yeah, true. That's true. That's very true, because he is also Buddhist. And I think His Holiness did it before him. So that might have set a good example also. Maybe, I don't know. But he's nice man. I met him. Bhutanese king. Young man, nice man. Yeah. So you are actually free, If you give up power, craving, everything, you are free. You see. Yes, Buddha. Exactly. And because of that, he is able to do so much for so many others. Not just clinging to one family, one country. Right? Don't turn goats into devils. That means there are many worldly spirits. If you rely on a wrong spirit, that wrong spirit will not only not help you, but it will kill you. There are many stories like that. So just like among human beings, there are many good ones, there are many bad ones, evil ones. Similarly, among spirits also there are good ones, bad ones. So it is wrong to propitiate all the spirits, right? There is a lot to say on this, but for the time being, maybe.
How to find out who is good and who is evil?
Huh?
How to find out who is good and who is evil?
Very good question. The most important thing is you don't have to worry about that. That's my answer. Because in the Tibetan society, we had a lot of problem with this cult of spirit worshipping. So I have been dealing with this for a long time, so I know this very well. So the most important thing is, if you are Buddhist, Buddhists don't believe in a creator God. Our creator is our own work, our own karma. So be very faithful with your karma. Do the good things, don't do bad things. Then if there's a good spirit, it is his job, responsibility to take care of you. You don't have to propitiate. You don't have to pray for that. The good spirits have taken a commitment that I will always support those who do good things. Right? So you don't have to worry. And the bad spirits will also not be able to harm you. They will be able to harm you when you go in the wrong way. So this is really a good question, and this is a big problem because people first of all don't believe in what we can all see. Instead, we think that spirit here, Bhagwan, I have very strong reservations about this kind of belief. I'm not saying they are not there, but first believe in the things that you can see, you can relate to. I mean, see the fun. People don't hesitate to kill one community by the other community in the name of God. Who has seen the God? Honestly speaking. ऐसे अंधविश्वास कहीं सुनी बात पर. And then the funniest thing is, you are supposed to be believing in something, spirit, God, whatever, which is invisible. You have no idea, honestly speaking. And with this empty belief to somebody about which you have no idea, you don't hesitate to kill this person sitting in front of you, alive, breathing. What a hypocrisy. And then especially when you talk about everybody created by the God, this is a fundamental belief. If you are Buddhist, all sentient beings are like the child of the Buddha. If you are a believer in a creator God, all sentient beings are created by God. So how can you kill that one which is created by the God which you say you believe so much? इतना overflowing with कल आया था ना शब्द, we read this word yesterday, overflowing with blind faith. So don't turn gods into devil. That means, as I said, if you propitiate the wrong, malevolent spirit, it will harm you. So like that, like this example, even though you have entered into a particular dharma practice, and then because of this dharma practice, you may be engaging in listening, meditating, and thinking, but all this listening, contemplation, meditation becomes causes for strengthening the self-cherishing attitude, strengthening the self-grasping ignorance. This is called God turning into devil. And you do see that. You do see that. Sometimes you will find so-called religious people more nasty than ordinary people. I'm telling you. Because if the so-called religious leader more matured, more having more sanity, they can cool down people because they have so many followers. But instead they would say, isko khatam kar do, mar do. Full of blind faith, hypocrisy, and killing each other, dying unnecessarily. Right? Don't seek others' misery as means to your happiness. This is very clear. If you don't hesitate to harm everybody, so long as you are going to get something, दूसरों के दुख पर नाचना, dancing. This is like dancing on the misfortunes of others. I mean, this is also happening. You go around, the so-called people. Again, I'm sorry to say, so-called people who are rich, who have power, right? They are enjoying power at the cost of others' misery. है कि नहीं? The rich people who call millionaire, billionaire, or whatever, how did they become billionaire? So forth. With the work of those so-called uneducated, helpless people. And they work like a donkey and hardly give anything, and you are just moving in fancy car. Really shameless. Revolution चाहिए, revolution. Not just fighting and killing, but we need to spread these words. Most of the majority of the poor people are completely helpless. They are doing what is told to do. करो बेचारा, नहीं तो जाओ साले. फिर बेचारा क्या करें? What will you do there? Kind of situation, right? Don't seek others' misery as means to your happiness. The last, the seventh one, the precepts of mind training. So precept means these things you should practice. Just as you should observe the commitment, you should also practice these precepts. Every yoga should be performed by one. Every yoga should be performed by one means whatever yoga means here, whatever activities that you do in terms of your food, in terms of your clothing, in terms of your house, in all your behaviors and conducts, all these activities should be influenced by your mind training practice. Every yoga should be performed by one, that is mindful practice. That means should be influenced by the altruistic wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. How you can do this? Of course, this one is given to me. I normally don't have to really buy. My sisters and other relatives and others, they when they think about giving something to me, they always think about this red cloth. So anyway, now whether you got it by having bought it or given to you by somebody, but you are using it, right? So you should not use it thinking that this will cover my body, I feel comfortable. Not just that. I use this cloth, protect myself, remain healthy, so that I can help others. I take this food, eat this food, then I become energetic to help others. Otherwise, what is the difference between human beings and animals? Eating, going to the toilet, animals also do. थोड़ा कुछ तो फर्क होना चाहिए ना. That's what he's saying. Every yoga should be performed by one. Especially when you do the bodhisattva practice, you should think that I am somebody to help others. Right? Subdue all adversaries by one method. क्या दिखा रहे हैं यहाँ? Subdue all adversaries by one method. So that means whatever virtuous practices that you do, no. Oh, subdue all adversaries. Subdue all adversities means adversities will always be there, challenges will be there. So, whether you encounter a positive factor, negative factor, whether you encounter negative emotions, the, the counter force should be just this mind training. Subdue all adversities by the mind training. It is this mind training. Because when you talk about mind training, you have wisdom, understanding, emptiness, which is really the counterforce against all negative emotions, right? Subdue all adversities by one method. There are two activities at both beginning and end. That means, right in the morning when you get up, you should develop the needed motivation, right motivation, that I'm going to engage in all activities to benefit others, as we already discussed, right? And then, as much as possible, attempt to adopt the right ones and abandon the wrong ones, right? Then, in between sessions, that means in the night when you sleep, then you should observe the needed physical, verbal postures. And if you're able to do that, then you should feel happy that I'm making my precious human life meaningful. My having met with Dharma, the Mahayana practice, is made meaningful. I'm happy that I'm practicing what my spiritual teachers told me, right? So in this way, you should rejoice. You are making your precious human life meaningful. And also make sure that I will not engage in any negative deeds in the future, right? And then finally, you should dedicate all the good things that you've done to achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings, right? There's the meaning. Two activities at both the beginning and the end. Train in those that are easier to practice. Easier to practice. Easier to practice means, as I told you earlier, these mind training teachings were not taught publicly in the beginning because they are a little bit like secret teaching. The Lamrim teachings were taught, and then after that, mind training teaching. But then I think it was at the time of Geshe who wrote this mind training text. From his time, this mind training teaching become public, right? Right. So the reason that the mind training teaching is my mind training is not out in the beginning. It is kept like a secret is because one might think that how can I, you know, give my good things to others and get all the negative things from others. It's not possible for me to do it. You might get that kind of thinking, right? So therefore, you should know that if you right in the beginning, at least mentally, you should imagine giving things to others, receiving sufferings of others mentally. Then gradually a time will come when you will be able to physically do it, right? So right now, of course, giving one's body to all sentient beings, can you do that right now? Of course, you can't do, but mentally you can imagine. And then gradually you will reach a state whether even giving your body is no problem, right? Right now, if you give part of your body, you will get a lot of pain. But gradually, when you have trained your mind, even if somebody chops part of your body, it is said that this will be like chopping a vegetable. You won't feel pain, it is said. Because right now we get all these pains and problems mainly because of grasping, too much grasping, too much fear. As I said, much of the fear is unnecessary, much of the suffering is unnecessary. It's mental created. Okay? So train in those that are easier to practice. So in the beginning, do those practices which is easier, like at least mental visualization. Then gradually giving little bit. There is this story of a great master who became great master later on, but in the beginning he was very stingy. So he realized that he is a very stingy person. Then he thought that I should now practice giving, but he did not dare to give anything to others. So he took something with the right hand, give it to the left hand, his own left hand. Then took something in his left hand, give it to his right hand. Gradually he becomes such a great practitioner. So mental training, first do the easier practice, then gradually you will do it. Right? Because gradually you will see the benefit of giving. So I have been jokingly, in a way serious way, telling my monk friends also. I've been telling them, don't maintain this bad habit that since you are a monk, you also always have to get things from others, and you should not give anything to others. So don't behave like that. Learn to give things to others. Right? Yeah. Train into there is easier. Whichever occurs, be patient both. That means happiness, suffering, whatever occurs on your body and your mind, whichever occurs, be patient with both. Both means happiness and suffering on your body and mind. You should be patient. That means ordinarily, if you're a little bit successful and a little bit happy, you get too excited. You almost burst out, explode. है ना? When there's a little bit failure, you get completely deflated. So the text is saying don't get inflated when there is some success. Don't get deflated when there is some failure. Right? So whatever comes, be patient. Don't get too excited. You should be happy a little bit, but not too much. You should suffer, you should feel sorry a little bit, but not too much. Right? Guard both at the cost of your life. This I think kind of explained yesterday actually. Because if you are a monk or even lay person, if you have taken a particular vow commitment, then you have to guard that. Then you should also guard yourself from committing natural negative deeds. That's the meaning. Guard both at the cost of your life. I mean, that's a very, hard statement. Nobody will be able to do that. But if possible, you should do that because if you commit these negative things, it will harm you for many, many lives to come. That's what he's saying.
What is the meaning of both?
Both. Both means one, if you have taken some commitment. For example, in front of a teacher, if you said, I will now from today onwards, I will never smoke or I will never kill. Okay. So now if you smoke, if you kill, you are violating the commitment. And those who have not taken the commitment, that sin, that negative deed will not happen because they have not taken the commitment. This I think I explained yesterday. Then the second is whether you have a commitment or not. If you kill somebody, that's a negative deed. So both of these negative deeds should be stopped. God both this prohibited negative deeds and natural negative deeds at the cost of your life. Train in the three difficulties. Train in the three difficulties means purpose of our doing dharma practice is to fight against the negative emotions. Now when we fight against the negative emotions, first of all, it's difficult to remember the counter force against these negative emotions. Counter force, very difficult to remember. Second, it's very difficult to stop them. Third, very difficult to stop the continuity. So therefore, it is important to identify the negative emotions and recollect their faults and with many ways try to stop them. That's what he's saying. So that the continuity is not there. Right? Because as I mentioned earlier, these negative emotions are very nasty. They are very cunning, very opportunistic. When anger comes, it comes as if it is your great supporter. Are don't be disheartened. I'm there. Fight. Say something bold. Anger comes. It looks like it's helping you. They are very cunning. Then attachment comes and say, yeah, you should, come here, sit here, be with me, I'll help you, kind of thing. ठीक है ना? Turn in the three difficulties. Transform all into Mahayana practices. Now this, I think, is very easy to understand, because all your activities must be influenced by compassion, loving kindness, and then finally bodhicitta, the wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So this being your commitment until to the end of the samsara, you know, you should try to transform all your physical, verbal, mental activities, and whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you recollect, everything should be transformed into the practice of becoming Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So that's why the Buddhas, we call the Buddhas meaningful to behold. The Buddhas, enlightened beings, are such that whoever sees them, they feel happy. To some extent, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, everybody, when he sees him, they feel happy. Like that. So we should also pray that whoever sees me, may they be happy. Whoever hears my speech, may they be happy. Things like that. Transform all into Mahayana practice. Cultivate the three things without decline. Cultivate the three things without decline means that your respect to the Lama should not decline. Your respect to the Lama or your teacher from whom you received those inspirations should not decline. Your mindfulness, your conscientiousness towards the precepts of mind training should not decline. Your delight to engage in the mind training should not decline. Your joy, your delight, your happiness of being able to practice the mindful training should not decline. So basically he is saying that the root of success of your practice is whether you have veneration and faith to your teacher. Veneration and faith to your teacher. Now, what is faith? Faith is of two kinds: faith of intelligent people and faith of not so intelligent ones. Faith of those who are intelligent, they will first read the text, think, scrutinize, then after that they are able to develop conviction that yes, this teaching is really wonderful, amazing, so I will follow it. I will be devoted to that. That is the way the faith is developed by intelligent people. So those who follow the Mahayana teaching should develop faith in this way. If you don't have this kind of faith, then you hear one teacher say, oh, wonderful. Next time you hear another teacher who says just the opposite, still you will say, oh, wonderful. So it's like, when you see somebody crying, you feel like crying. When you see somebody who's laughing, you feel like laughing. It's like that. You really have no sense of who to trust, who not to trust. So the faith should not be the blind faith. Blind faith comes because people don't judge, don't scrutinize, don't analyze, blindly follow something. Right? So faith. The benefit of faith is once you develop faith, it removes the turbidities in your mind. It will make your mind clean. Teba nyokwa meching simtanji. Teba mebe minam la karvachunam minjungde, sabe meyi sikwala nyugungumu minjung shis labre. A person without faith, virtuous practices are impossible. Just like you can't grow any plant from a burnt seed. You can't grow green shoots. You can't expect green shoots coming out from a burnt seed. So faith is very important, but the faith must be based on reason, knowledge, not blind faith. Right? Then he talks about this the need to not to let conscientiousness decline towards your precepts. And the third one, he says, don't let your joy and delight in the mind training practice decline. In any activity, if you have delight, happiness in your mind, you can do anything very easily. If you don't have joy, delight, then you will be like a donkey taken uphill. A donkey heavily loaded, taken uphill. Okay? So, delight is very important. Always train in impartiality towards the object. So that means the very purpose of developing bodhicitta is that it should not be impartial. That means it should cover all sentient beings. And you should be totally trained into that. Always train in impartiality towards the object, the sentient beings. Right? And then the next one, value and encompassing and far-reaching practice. These two are more or less very similar. It should encompass everybody. It should reach everybody. So quite similar. Right? The next one is seek for the three principal causes. So whatever listening, contemplation, meditation you do, especially having entered into this the particular dharma practice, and when you engage in the mind training practice, you should have the internal facilities of having obtained precious human life, where there is opportunity and freedom and facilities. That means you should, as a practitioner, you should have faith, you should have wisdom, you should have effort. So those virtuous facilities must be there. So these are the internal facilities that you should have with you. In addition to that, you should also have external facility. External facility means you should have a really reliable guru, reliable spiritual teacher. And that is also not easy. There are so many self-proclaimed teachers these days, marketeers. है ना? So सबके पीछे नहीं भागना है. Don't chase all the so-called gurus. Huh? When you see somebody donning with different clothes, and then you chase them. No, don't do that. Please, don't do that. Many of them just making business. They have no love, no compassion, even no proper knowledge. So here we are talking about a real qualified teacher. A qualified teacher, how can you find a qualified teacher? In the Buddhist perspective, qualified teacher is one who cares more about others than himself. That itself is very difficult, right? So that will limit the number of qualified teachers. One who cares more for others than for oneself. So difficult. A qualified teacher should be one who thinks about future lives more than this life. It made it even more challenging. Most of the teachers are thinking about this life, not about so much about future life. So very difficult, you see. So, but at least you should find a teacher who has more compassion to others, to the student, and who has more knowledge than you. Otherwise, he can't teach, right? And then he should be somebody who is ready to spend some time, undergo some difficulty, explaining things to you, and so forth. So at least there are many qualities, but these three must be there. out of which the most important thing is compassion. If the teacher has compassion, then there's no room for him to exploit his students, take advantage of them. It's very important. So there's the external condition. Then the third condition is that you should have enough food, enough clothing, and other facilities. Otherwise, how can you do practice? If you have to spend all your time running after food, clothing, it's very difficult. So there you should have enough facility, but make sure that you don't lead a luxurious life. Okay? So if you are devoid of these facilities, pray that you very soon you get all these three facilities. First train those that are gross. That already we explained. Out of many negative emotions, you should first try to deal with those negative emotions which is more gross, means which has a more visible predominant presence in you. Right? First train those that are gross. Engage in the principal practices right now. Principal practices right now means, here in this case, principal practice means out of many practices, the most important practice, the foundational practice is ethical discipline. Ethics, morality. Without morality, morality is like a fertile ground. If you have fertile ground, then you can sow rice or maize or gyung, balle, whatever, many things, vegetables, many things can grow. If the ground, the morality itself is corrupted, it is contaminated, then you can't hope to cultivate any higher qualities. So morality is like a ground. Principal practices right now. Mhm. Never be motivated from the three things. Oh, that we already read, right? Never be parted from the three things. Cultivate the three things without decline, that I read earlier. Now this one is basically same. So that's what I'm saying. I need to do a lot of research on this. There are a lot of some verses are coming up, some verses are coming down. So many different versions. So anyway, never be parted from the three things. That means you should not let your faith to the Lama decline. Conscientious should not decline. Joy to the mind training practice should not decline, as I explained earlier. If there is repulsion, just meditate on that. Sorry. Wait. No, I made a mistake. So this one is a little bit different from the first. Never be parted from the three things means that your serving the Lama or Buddha, Dharma and Sangha should be there. You should not stop that. And then similarly, physically, verbally making circumambulation, doing prostration, and other virtuous activities should also be there. Right? So in other words, physically you should serve the teacher, the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, go around the temple, do prostration, and verbally you should recite the mantras of personal deities, and more importantly, in terms of your mind, you should not forget cultivating bodhicitta and the contributing factors. Okay, never be parted from the three things. If there is repulsion, just meditate on that. Repulsion means when you continue to do the mind training practice, then many repulsive experiences will come. Before I meditated on mindful practice, everything was okay. Since I started doing the mind training practice, many people are now treating me negatively. Many people are saying nasty things to me. This is similar to what I told you with regard to meditation. When you try to do one pointed meditation, as soon as you try to focus on one positive practice, you start seeing so many things, negative things coming. Because of this, then you say, oh, before I meditated, I was a nice person. After I meditated, I become a bad person. So this is what he's saying. Revulsion will come. And for ordinary people, they will also think, oh, why I'm wasting my time? See, other people just making so much money. They are going for holiday. They are swimming. Whatever. And I'm leading a miserable life here. So in this way, you might develop some kind of repulsiveness. So in that case, uh, there is a risk of stopping your practice. Then at that times, if there's repulsion, just meditate on that. That means you should now don't let this practice go. Instead, you should realize now these negative things, repulsive things are coming. That this wish to repulse my practice are coming because of doing of evil spirits. It is said that sometimes when your practice is becoming very successful, suddenly in the dream there is an appearance of Buddha. Then you feel so happy. Okay, now I see the sign of my achievement. So that is not necessary. It is said that the evil spirits come as a Buddha so that you get too excited and stop doing the practice. So they can come in any form. So don't. So you should think that all this wish to stop my practice is coming because of negative forces. So therefore, make more effort and just practice that. Okay, just meditate on that. This time, engage in the main practice. Engage in the main practice means from beginningless time, we have been in the samsara, which is really like our old home. But this time, due to some favorable external and internal conditions, I found this precious human life. And therefore, it is more important for me to do something for the long-term future lives than just this life. So that's the meaning. Engage in the main practice. That is one way of doing the main practice. The second way of doing the main practice is that you can study the Dharma, you can explain the Dharma. That's wonderful. But it is more important to implement it out of the two. So therefore, your primary practice should be meditate on bodhicitta with the contributing factors. That's what he's saying. Okay. Train constantly to deal with difficult situations. Because when you encounter challenges, difficult situations, as we read in the preceding line, you might give up. So therefore, there you need to make special effort. Okay. Then don't rely on other conditions, sage Dua. So don't rely on other condition means in terms of you're doing the mind training practice, you should not wait whether this facilities like food and clothing are there or not there. Just as is done by Milarepa, who did all his practice in the snow mountain without any cloth on his body. We may not be able to do such a practice, but we need to sacrifice a little bit, right? And in many cases, sometimes if you have less facility, you can do better practice. And in fact, the so-called facilities are not facilities. Facilities, the so-called facility is actually, from the point of view of a spiritual practitioner, the so-called facilities are invitations extended to you by the evil force. Like, for example, if you get a brand new, the latest smart TV, the biggest screen, we call it facility. And then you will spend most of your time watching it. This is invitation sent by the evil force. So don't rely on other conditions, right? Don't apply wrong understanding. Don't apply wrong understanding means when you see people suffering, you should develop compassion, right? That's right understanding if you develop compassion. So instead of developing compassion to people who are suffering, if you see somebody undergoing some hardship in terms of his listening to the teaching, contemplating on the teaching, meditating on the teaching, and because of his spending so much time on the spiritual practice, if he or she is a little bit deprived of good food, good clothing, so forth, then they'll say, "Oh, I'm very sorry." There's wrong understanding. Nyingje kholo, nyingje kholo, wrong compassion, wrong compassion. There is a story of Milarepa. One day he came down to the valley to get water or something. So there are three beautiful ladies are standing there, young women standing there. So when they saw Milarepa, they started making fun of him. What? Is this a human being or a devil? I mean, he is naked, and his food was just a nettle all the time, so he's like green or whatever, horrible thing. So they started laughing. And then there were, among them there was one young lady who was more sensible. She said, "No, don't do like this. This may be the famous Milarepa." So then Milarepa gave them some teaching, saying that, "You beautiful ladies," I don't remember everything, but he said something like, "You beautiful ladies, now you're very proud of your face, your clothes, and things like that. You're making fun of me. But you know what I'm doing? This is my ornament, this is my practice, this is my decoration," something like that. The poem is so beautiful, right? So, wrong understanding. If somebody who is doing a lot of dharma practice and has not much money and things like that, then we think that he's out of the society. And when somebody comes in a Mercedes car, say like this, "Oh, I wish I should also become like this one." This is wrong understanding. So that's why His Holiness the Dalai Lama says that the compassion that we develop is partial. Meaning that when you see some poor people, you develop some kind of compassion. But when you see rich people, there's no sign of compassion to them. Instead, you aspire that and expect that I should also become like that. And His Holiness said, actually, these people who are in an oblivious state because of their wealth and other things, status and other things, they are actually more object of compassion than the people who are in a lower state. Because the so-called rich or people, so-called educated rich people, they are under some kind of illusion, thinking everything is okay. Everything is not okay. And when suddenly sickness, death comes, they are completely dumbfounded. They have no idea what to do, right? Don't apply a wrong understanding. So there means many wrong understandings are there. So first is wrong understanding in the sense of wrong compassion. Not having compassion to people who are suffer, but instead of having compassion for those who are doing dharma practice and a little bit short of modern facilities. So that is wrong compassion. The second is we should have this aspiration to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So instead of having this aspiration, we have so much aspiration for the, things of the world, the glamours of the ordinary world. Similar like name and fame. So this is called wrong aspiration. We should have this perseverance to put all sentient beings to the state of Buddhahood. But instead of thinking about all sentient beings, you simply focus on your immediate relatives, and you don't hesitate to earn your livelihood through by hooks and crooks. So this is called wrong perseverance. And then next is wrong rejoicing. Wrong rejoicing means you should rejoice the good virtues of a Buddha and Bodhisattvas from the depth of your heart, because that will help you, help your virtues prosper and flourish. So instead of developing that kind of rejoicing, when you see some people uh, experiencing misfortune, then you rejoice. How nice he is now in trouble. How nice he is now in jail. That's wrong rejoicing, right? So there are many wrong understandings. Okay, don't be sporadic. Don't be sporadic means nyere sejame sa sunduzo lama thane kebe komba do tenda tela chiame jungu somba chubu jundu den xiang sumba na hi. Don't be sporadic means in the first few just like the marriage, for the first few days you got excited and said, oh, the Buddha's teaching was so good, the mindful teaching was so good, the teaching on meditation was so good, I'm going to do it. I went there, it was so nice. फिर उसके बाद 4 दिन की चांदनी फिर अंधेरी रात, right? To sporadic, just for a few days. You do a little bit and then nothing, then little bit, then nothing. And the little bit that you do in between is also just the name of doing virtuous practice, not the real practice. So that will be of no benefit. Don't be sporadic, right? Then practice unflinchingly, remembering that your enemy is negative emotion, very strong, very powerful, very clever, very opportunistic. So you should practice unflinchingly, without hesitation. Concentrate your whole energy to do the practice. Release yourself through the two, investigation, analysis. So that means by developing various types of motivation, then you should engage in investigation. So investigation means rough analysis. Then analysis means more fine, detailed analysis. So in other words, it is through reasoning, investigation, analysis that you will be able to liberate yourself from the clutches of ignorance and so forth. Not through blind faith. Release yourself through investigation, analysis. Don't be boastful. That means if you have benefited somebody a little bit, if you have benefited others a little bit, don't keep on bragging about it. Because the text says if it is something to be bragged about, then Buddha should be the one who should be doing this, because he has benefited all of us in such a tremendous way, right? Don't be boastful, or don't brag. Don't be short-tempered. That means when there is a slight change in terms of your getting the name and fame, when you're a little bit up or down, don't get angry. Because if you get angry, then this is violating the commitment that we read earlier, right? Don't use nasty words. the commitment that we read earlier. Don't be short-tempered. Okay, that don't be short-tempered, that we already read. Don't make a short-lived attempt. This is quite similar to don't be sporadic, right? But the only difference is when we say don't sporadic, that means you practice a little bit, then stop and practice a little bit, not sincerely, right? Now here in this case, don't be short-tempered. No, don't make a short-lived attempt. That means, so in the beginning, you do the practice with some kind of interest, and then you continue. Then you stop the practice. That's what he's saying. Don't expect gratitude. When you do something good to others, don't expect thank you or gratitude immediately. Because sometimes it is our habit of saying that I benefit this person, but this person has no sense of gratitude. He didn't even say thank you to me. I had given him $10,000. Now he don't even recognize me. Something like that, yeah. So that's the end of the text. Then finally the writer says, due to my manifold aspirations have given rise to humiliating criticism and suffering. But having received instructions for taming the misconception of self, even if I have to die, I have no regret. So this is similar to the text called the 8 verses of mind training, right? So here also says, in his life, due to my manifold, we all have manifold aspirations, right? Due to many aspirations, that has given rise to humiliating criticism. Sometimes people criticize you, sometimes people bully you, and you encounter many sufferings. But after he received this instruction from his teacher Sharava, he really wanted to do a proper practice, so he was looking for a teacher. Then somebody said there is a teacher called Sharava who is a really great teacher. So he went there. When he went there, Sharava was giving teaching to a few thousands of people. Then he sat there and listened to the teaching. Sharava did not use the mind training even one time throughout his teaching. Then after the teaching is over, the great teacher Sharava, counting the bead and going around the temple. So he approached him with great humility and said, I have some question. Can you please sit down and answer my questions? He put some mat there. Then the great teacher sat there. Then he said, I come here to learn more of the mind training text, mind training instructions. And I came here, but you did not even use the mind training. Forget about proper teaching on mind training. You did not use the word of mind training even once. Then Sharava said, what is the use of using this word when nobody is ready to practice? And then after that he said, how important this mind training practice is. And then he said, if you want to get freedom, liberated, then this is all you want. There's no question of whether it's useful or not useful. This is the text that you want. And then he said, oh, okay, if this is the case, then there must be a source. What are the sources? Then the great teacher immediately recited some verses from Nagarjuna and other teachers. Then he was highly moved. Then he requested, please give me the teaching. And then he said, you should be able to stay here with me for a longer time, then I will explain. Then I think he stayed at his feet, maybe, I don't remember, more than 12 years. Just studied there, meditated. And that's why then he's saying, but having received instruction for taming the misconception of self, now I'm so confident about my practice that even if I have to die, I have no regret. Right? So those of you who can read Tibetan, there are actually many commentaries. Get those commentaries. Don't wait for the next session of some teacher. You should make effort. Get some of this Tibetan text. Lojong Nyime Sir Lasokwa, there are many texts. Read them, and if you are not clear, ask other people. There are many books on mind training. 8 verses of mind training, 30 Bodhisattva, 37 practices, many. And in a way, Lamrims are also mind training text. So read them. Right? That's all. Rwa? Rwa? Tuja simsune? Zosune chaba? Kamachudu, tiba kachita. You have 10 minutes.
Written here from 15 to 22. Teachings here from 15 to 22. More than 150 followers and some including monks have committed self-immolations.
Yeah.
And these teachings 15 to 20 all violation of that. So how do you justify that? Because monks are also trained, followers are also trained.
Yesterday also somebody raised this question, Some monks are more violent, like Burmese monks.
And they
things like
said,
that. But let me tell you, monks are not Buddhas. I answered this earlier also. They are also ordinary human beings. They also have attachment, anger, frustration, especially what is happening in Tibet. When their very source of belief, the Buddha Dharma, is completely destroyed. And hardly anybody is paying attention to the problems encountered by the Tibetans. Hardly anybody. The world leaders pay attention to areas where there is a lot of oil to sell. Let me be frank. So out of frustration, they are doing this. So you cannot really ask the question whether it's right or wrong, things like that, in such a difficult situation. But the big thing is, once I was asked this question by a foreign journalist, I kind of scolded him by saying that there are people, terrorists, who are killing hundreds and thousands of people. You people are completely silent and don't dare to even ask a question. Now the humble Tibetan monks, not killing anybody, just destroying them, then say, is this with the religious teaching or not? Ask all these comfortable questions, So therefore, I think you need to understand that we are all ordinary people still, right? So don't expect that monks are all like completely enlightened it's not only monks. In today's world, how many so-called religious sadhus and practitioners in Hinduism and Islam and so many, are they able to practice whatever is told by their religion? Not. That's why we are trying to improve. Right? Okay.
and
That's
one
all.
more thing,
Yeah.
I have not got any chance.
Yeah.
The last day I'm getting other intelligent people are asking many questions every day.
How many sessions did you attend?
This is my fifth.
So?
One day I missed.
Yeah. So how will you get all the opportunities when you attend just one session?
No, this is the fifth session I'm attending. One I missed.
Yeah. Ask, please. Yeah.
And the thing is, in your teachings, the practice is also mentioned. I've been attending your session since beginning when you started.
Yes.
It is, I think, sixth session.
Yes.
There is no practice involved in it. That is why it's written practical session.
I don't know what you are listening to. Because this whole book is for practice. I've been repeatedly saying that. Yesterday, we read this special part called integrated practice for one lifetime, integrated practice at the time of death. So I don't know what you have been listening. Yeah. Practical you have to do. Buddha will not practice for you.
There is practical session involved in every session.
Yeah.
Since it is mentioned in the banner.
Practice means we get up, do some exercise. Yeah.
Thank
Sir,
you.
my question is that this to implement this mind training in our day-to-day life, what should we do? What should we should so that this come in our life day-to-day life and it become habits. So how to
So you need
what
to do it repeatedly. You need to do it repeatedly. That's what we have been reading, the commitments, the precepts. This is what you do. So you
so
need to do it repeatedly.
okay, and so meditations, all this we should do regularly for this.
Of course, this is like asking whether we should eat every day or not. For the mind, you need to do this repeatedly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Gaishala. Actually, I have two small questions. One is that, like, what is correct? Like, in normal practice, we follow the relative truth, not the absolute truth. Like, I say ki 2 plus 2 is 4, but in real life, 2 plus 2 is either 3 or 2 plus 3 is 5 sometimes. So it depends. So, what is correct? I mean, I believe in absolute truth, but we all, as ordinary human being, we are only able to practice
Absolute,
relative
absolute
truth.
truth and absolute truth and conventional truth are interrelated. Right? For example, if I say, talk about this microphone that you see, this is conventional truth. This is conventional truth. I can use it. I can speak through this. Everybody can see it. This is conventional truth. So the problem with ordinary people is we get obsessed with the conventional truth. Oh, this microphone is so wonderful, so amazing. I need to buy this. I need to have this. I need to keep this. We get stuck there. So therefore, the Buddha is saying that conventional truth is only a means to discover the ultimate truth. And the ultimate truth is, you thought earlier that there is a microphone existing from its own side. But when you scrutinize and analyze, where is the mic? The cover? The stand? Where is it? So in this way, you won't find anything. It's only designated. As I said the other day, I call this microphone not elephant. It's just designation. If right in the beginning somebody called this elephant, today we should all be saying that I will speak through the elephant. There's no problem. Now if I say it, you will all laugh and smile, you see. So this is just a convention. So therefore, don't get stuck with the conventional truth. Transcend it, realize the ultimate truth. That's the teaching. So when you understand the ultimate truth, that means everything is interconnected, interrelated, designated. Apart from that, there is nothing. When you develop this understanding, your attachment will, disappear. Anger will disappear. Jealousy will disappear. Things like that.
Secondly, number 12 says that first train those that are gross. So, what is this gross, which this.
Gross means the anger, the visible anger that comes up quickly. Gross that you can notice, right? And then there are some latent negative emotions which you may not be able to see quickly. So that is more subtle, not gross. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Tashi Delay, sir. Hello. One quick question. I've been hearing to a lot of talks on enlightenment and pathways and all that.
Yeah.
But if you truly ask me my true present truth, I love the sansara.
Yeah, good.
At the moment, if you ask me, I'm very contented with my life
Very good.
and I don't really want to go towards enlightenment or away from the sansara. What would your comments be?
It's everybody's choice. Right,
Okay.
right in the beginning, I said whether you want to do positive practice or negative practice, up to you. Totally up to you. But the thing is, if there is a thing called afterlife, you need to think about that also. Right? And then, is this really the solution of all your problems, to remain contented with these things that you have right now? All these are areas that you need to think. Right? But according to Buddhist teaching, the reason is that however glamorous, attractive, satisfying the samsaric things are, they are all ephemeral. they cannot be with you all the time. Whether it's your husband, wife, brother, sister, whoever, your nice building, whatever, they cannot be with you. You have to go. And when are you going to go? Maybe tomorrow. Nobody knows. So at that time, what will you do? What are the resources that you have? Have you confirmed your flight ticket? Things like that, you see. So that's an area we need to think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Keshala,
Yeah.
just carrying on with this ephemeral and the
Yeah,
sansaric,
yeah,
this
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
when relationships become negative,
Yes.
even though one is practicing dharmic practices, whether it's meditation or compassion, love, should we endure that karmic debt of being in a negative or a toxic this
No,
thing?
no.
Or
Instead of thinking what you are experiencing is a karmic debt, maybe there may be an element of truth. But what is most important is use your common sense. That's very, very important. Many people think, oh, it may be karma, and then just unnecessarily suffering. No. If a little bit suffering, little bit ups and downs will be there, that you should tolerate. But if your life is, जैसे बोलता है ना, अभी मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता, मेरा जीवन तो नरक में है. So if it is really something like that, and it's totally you can't correct it, then why the hell you suffer there?
then one should walk away from that
Absolutely.
situation. Yeah,
Not
that is.
hastily. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
it take time, try to solve the problem. But if it reaches the corner,
Yes.
nothing you can do, then why you suffer unnecessarily?
Yeah. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, hello. This side. Sir, here.
Here, okay.
Sir, every religion talk about the good things,
Yes.
good virtues. But
Yes.
how is the Buddhism teaching is different from others? What is unique on the Buddhism?
Unique on Buddhism is Buddhism talks about well-being of all sentient beings.
So that is also in Hinduism also.
No, I
They
don't
talk
think
about
so.
the
All sentient
Vasudev,
beings, I don't know.
Vasudev
But-
Kutumbakam is the
Yeah,
good.
Vasudeva is talking about human beings primarily. The world is one, is talking about human beings. But I'm not an expert, to be honest. If it is there, good. But at least according to my understanding, which may not necessarily be the final and the ultimate, because I have a very limited knowledge. Okay. So as far as I know, Buddhism is the only religion which talks about yourself becoming completely enlightened like a Buddha. That's the first thing. The second thing is talking about well-being of all sentient beings, including Kira Magora. I think these are unique.
And second, sir, I request you that your organization should collaboration with the different governments and this mind
Different who?
points, different governments of the all countries.
The government should be ready.
And there is a 7-point mind training. It
No,
should
they will
be
not be interested. You see, then they will say, "Oh, this is Buddhism." Anybody is interested, whether it's government or your private, or we always share. That's of course our
So this is very good teaching for the universal brotherhood and to maintain peace in the world.
Exactly. But then people come with their like काला चश्मा लगा के आता है ना, फिर मुश्किल होता है बोलना.
Thank you.
Right in the beginning, they'll judge, who is right, who is wrong. Then who am I to tell them you are wrong? Let them follow whatever they like. Right? Yeah.
He wants to ask a question.
Dichiktasha, yeah, last. They.
What is the essence of attachment and detachment in Buddhist teaching?
Yeah, essence of what meaning of detachment and attachment.
Sometime you have to follow and sometime you have to unfollow.
Huh?
Like bad karma and good karma. From Buddhist perspective.
Attachment is like a drop of oil falling on a piece of cloth. Drop of oil falling on a piece of cloth, then the oil gets stuck there, very difficult to remove. So towards any object, when you develop attachment, you stuck there. There's attachment. Right? Now the English word detachment, I have to be very careful. What do you mean? This is an English word. Even in Buddhism, when we talk about compassion, We are not talking about completely detaching yourself with nothing to do with other sentient beings. And compassion itself is sometimes called attachment. It is not attachment, but like attachment, they are very concerned about well-being of other sentient beings. But this does not mean to say that you should stuck there, therefore detachment. The last time I told you, regarding the human relationship, it should be like relation with the fire. Not go too near, not go too far. Right? Like sometimes I
So
say,
what's middle path?
huh?
What's middle path in that case?
Middle path I've already explained. Don't go too far, don't go too near. That is middle path. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I would like to make a thank you note on behalf of Foundation for Universal Responsibility of His Holiness Dalai Lama. I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Venerable Geshe for these very invaluable teachings. And we all feel blessed and very fortunate to be able to listen to Geshe for last 5 days. His teaching was full of insight, and it's very valuable to our life. And just to conclude, during my school days, I remember my mathematics teacher, she used to tell me, you can take a horse to the water, but cannot make him drink. Likewise, Geshe taught us these invaluable things, but we have to bring it into practice and make our life better. We hope we will be able to make it. And I would like to thank India Habitat Center for collaborating with us. And I want to thank Syncline team who has been very patiently recording this session for last 5 days. And it will be available on our official YouTube channel within 1 or 2 weeks. We will let you know. And I want to thank our foundation team. Apart from we two, we have a team who has been working to make it come true. I would like to thank everybody involved in this. And last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants and especially those who have come here for all the 5 days and attended very carefully. Thank you so much. And before we conclude, I would like to request my colleague Tenzin Lagmalla to offer a little scarf to Venerable Geshe just as a token of gratitude from the foundation. Geshe, kindly please accept it. Uh, Thank you so much, Gisela. It's been wonderful 5 days full of blessings. We will try to practice it in our daily life and make it a better one. And we have a little photo session after this. We can do. Then we conclude. Tujana.